Hello students, this is part 2 on units and measurement. See, in last video we discussed about some international system of units like CGS, FPS and MKS, etc. And we discussed about SI unit also, and it consists of 7 basic unit and 2 supplementary unit. All those things we saw in previous video, and we'll see the rest of the topics in this video. Okay, let's see the contents of this video. Measurement of length. So in this measurement of length, we have direct method and indirect method. And again, we have 2 more methods, parallax method and echo method in indirect method of measurement of length. And measurement of mass, measurement of time, dimensions and dimensional formula, homogeneity principle, applications of dimensions, limitations of dimensional analysis. Okay, first we'll see about measurement of length. See, you are already familiar with some direct method for the measurement of length. For example, a meter scale is a simple measurement instrument, simple measuring instrument. See, by using this meter scale, you can able to measure a length from 10 power minus 3 meters to 10 power 2 meters. Okay, and we have two more measuring instruments like vernier caliper. See, this is able to from this instrument you can able to measure the distance up to 10 power minus 4 meters, and by using screw gauge and spirometer you can able to measure the distance up to 10 power minus 5 meters. Okay, to measure length beyond these ranges, we make use of some special indirect method. We'll see what is the indirect methods will be. Okay, indirect methods. See, these methods are used to measure large distances, such as the distance of a planet or a star from the Earth. There are various indirect methods to measure large distance, such as echo method, parallax method, laser method, radar method, etc. So first we'll see about what is parallax method. See, parallax is the apparent shift in the position of an object with respect to another when we shift our eye sidewise. The closure object always appears to move in direction opposite to that of our eye. Large distances such as the distance of a planet or a star from Earth can be measured by the parallax method. See, look at the diagram, students. Okay, so A, B and S is given. This is for easy understanding. I'll tell you one more thing. See, when you hold a pencil in front of you against some specific point on the background or a wall, simply a wall, and look at the pencil first through your left eye, A. Okay, we'll mark that portion as A. You have to see that pencil by your left eye. See, while doing this, you have to close your right eye too. And then look at the pencil through your right eye. So we'll make that portion as portion B. So now you have to close your left eye. Okay. So what you can observe, you can notice that the position of the pencil seems to change with respect to the point on the wall. See, this is called parallax. The distance between the 2 points of observation is called the basis. Very important. The distance between 2 points of observation. Okay, so first initially you saw in the position A, and later you closed your left eye and you are observing that particular point through your right eye. So that portion we marked as B. So distance between these 2 points of observation is called basis. Okay, so in this example the basis is the distance between our eyes. Okay, right. So to measure the distance D for a far away planet S, for example, we'll mark the planet as S. Look at the diagram. Okay, so to measure the distance D, capital D, of far away planet S by the parallax method, we observe it from 2 different positions or 2 different observatories A and B on the Earth, which is separated by a distance small b. So this b is nothing but basis, difference between 2 observatory marked as B, small b, nothing but basis. Okay, so now we have to measure the angle between the two directions along with the planet. Okay, so what is ASB? Theta. This is nothing but parallax angle. Theta. We have to measure theta now. Right? So, as the planet is very far away, B divided by D, that is the ratio of basis and the distance, is very much lesser than 1. So, therefore, theta is very small. So, then we approximately take AB as arc of length B of a circle with center S and the distance D as radius AS. So what is the distance? AS. So this AS is equivalent to BS. Okay. AS is equivalent to BS. So this is nothing but capital D. So what is AB now? So calculate AB now. So what is AB? So AB is equal to, we know the formula, AB is nothing but what? B, basis, distance between the two observatories. Okay, so this is equal to D into theta. So students, you understood, right, what is parallax method? So how we calculate the distance by using long distance by using parallax method. So what is the formula? D equal to B divided by theta. Okay, so now let's see about echo method. So an echo is a phenomenon of repetition of sound on reflection from an obstacle. Here a sound wave is sent to the obstacle and we observe the time it takes to return. Okay, suppose if the distance between the source producing the sound and the object is x means, then the total distance covered by the sound wave is 2x. Okay, so we know the speed formula, speed equal to distance covered divided by time taken. So what is the distance here? 2x. Okay, then divided by time taken. So by using this formula, you can calculate the distance between the source and the object. Okay, so as I told you, we have some other methods for measuring the distances such as laser method, radar method and sonar method. Okay, now let's see indirect method for measuring small distances, for very small distances or length. Okay, so to measure a very small size like that of a molecule, see the range of a molecule is 10 power minus 8 to 10 power minus 10 meters. We cannot use an optical microscope for this case. Okay, why? Because the wavelength range for the optical microscope is 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom. So hence it cannot resolve the particles which smaller than this size. Okay, so a simple method for estimating the very small distances. Okay, a simple method for estimating the molecular size of oilic acid. For example, oilic acid is given here. Okay, so oilic acid is nothing but a soapy liquid with large molecular size of the order 10 power minus 9 meters. See, what we are going to do is we are going to dissolve 1 centimeter cube of oilic acid in 20 centimeter cube of alcohol and then redissolve 1 centimeter cube of this solution in 20 centimeter cube of alcohol. Okay, I repeat, 1 centimeter cube of oilic acid in 20 centimeter cube of alcohol and then we are redissolving 1 centimeter cube of this solution in 20 centimeter cube of alcohol. Okay, and now the concentration of the oilic acid is 1 divided by 400 centimeter cube in 1 centimeter cube of alcohol. Okay, and we then determine the approximate volume of each drop. So volume of each drop is capital V centimeter cube. And now pour n drops of the solution on the surface of water taken in the broad vessel. We stretch the film carefully. As the alcohol evaporates, the very thin film of oilic acid is left on water surface. So now volume of n drops of solution. See, volume of each drop is capital V centimeter cube. Now volume of n drops of solution is n capital V centimeter cube. Amount of oilic acid in this solution. So what is the amount of oilic acid in this dissolved solution? NV divided by 400 centimeter cube. And the thickness of the oil film. Small t thickness is equal to volume of the film divided by area of the film. So volume is NV divided by 400 A centimeter. So assuming that the film has monomolecular thickness, then T will be approximately the size or diameter of a molecule of oilic acid. The value of T is found to be of the order of 10 power minus 9 meters. 10 power minus 9 meters. See, this is the thickness what we found from the experiment. So we studied about the measurement of length by using direct method and indirect method. Okay, now let's see about measurement of mass. See, mass is a basic property of matter. It does not depend on the temperature, pressure or location of the object in space. SI unit of mass, we know very well, kilogram. While dealing with atoms and molecules, we use another important standard unit of mass called unified atomic mass, U, unified atomic mass unit. It has been established for expressing the mass of atom as, so there is a value, 1 unified atomic mass unit is equal to 1 divided by 12 of the mass of an atom of carbon-12 isotope. Okay, I repeat, 1 unified atomic mass unit, 1U, is equal to 1 divided by 12 of the mass of atom of carbon-12 isotope. Okay, so what is the range of mass? So range of mass we can measure from 10 power minus 30 kilograms to 10 power 55 kilograms. 10 power minus 30 kilograms to 10 power 55 kilograms. So what is the range of length is? Range of length. Length range will be 10 power minus 15 meters. 10 power minus 15 meters to 10 power 26 meters. Okay. So this is the least value we can measure by using indirect methods. Okay, 10 power minus 15 meters to 10 power 26 meters. So this is the range of length, and range of mass is 10 power minus 30 to 10 power 55 kg. Measurement of time. For measurement of any time interval, we need a clock. Okay, so we'll see about atomic clock. Atomic standard of time, which is based on the periodic vibration produced in a cesium atom. See, this is the basis of the cesium clock, sometimes called atomic clock, used in the national standards. See, this atomic clock is highly accurate. Other clocks, for example, wristwatch, pendulum clock, etc., lose and gain time due to the effect of temperature, pressure, and variation of acceleration due to gravity. So they are not considered as accurate. This atomic clock is highly accurate. Okay. So what is the range of time we can able to measure? 10 power minus 24 seconds to 10 power 17 seconds. This is the range of time. Dimensions of a physical quantity. The dimensions of a physical quantity are the powers or exponents to which the units of the base quantities are raised to represent a derived unit of that quantity. There are 7 base quantities and are represented with square brackets, such as length, mass, time, electric current, thermodynamic, temperature, luminous intensity, amount of substances. We studied in last video, right? So these 7 basic quantities are represented with square brackets. We'll see how. So let's learn about what is dimensional formula. Okay, the expression which shows how and which of the fundamental quantities represent the dimension of the physical quantity is called the dimensional formula of the given physical quantity. Okay, so while giving this dimensional formula, we have few steps. Okay, so what's the first step? You have to remember the formula of a particular physical quantity. Say for example, if you are considering velocity, you need to find what is the dimensional formula for velocity means. What is the formula for velocity or speed? Okay, so for consider speed, first consider speed. So speed is equal to distance divided by time taken. Okay, what is the SI unit now? Meter per second. So you have to write a dimensional formula for this speed. Okay, so meter per second. Okay, so convert the formula of derived physical quantity into a fundamental quantities, and then write the corresponding symbols for fundamental quantities. For example, mass means capital M. Within the square bracket you have to write M, and length means within the square bracket you should write capital L, and for time means within the square bracket you should write capital T, etc. We have 7 basic units, right? So as I told you before, you have to write within the square brackets. Okay, and then now meter per second, how you will mention in dimension. Okay, so meters SI unit. Okay, so it is comes under length, right? So length to the power 1, and second SI unit of time. So time to the power -1 because it is in the denominator scale. And what is the M? See, generally you should mention as MLT format. Okay, mass is 0. Okay, so this is your what? Dimensional formula for speed. M power 0, L power 1, T power -1. See, similarly, we'll see the next physical quantity, acceleration. What is the SI unit? Meter per second squared. Meter per second squared. So here also mass is 0, length is 1, and time is T power -2 because it is second squared, right? So it is in the denominator, so T power -2. This is how you have to mention dimension of a particular physical quantity. Now let's see about momentum. What is the formula? Momentum P equal to mass into velocity. Mass into velocity. This is the formula actually. So mass measured in terms of kg and velocity meter per second. Okay, let's write the dimension formula. So kg, first mass is here, so m to the power 1, and meter, this is length, right? So L to the power 1, and second is in denominator, so T power -1. So this is how you have to write for other physical quantities. Okay, let's see about homogeneity principle. What is this? If the dimensions of left hand side of an equation are equal to the dimensions of right hand side of the equation, then the equation is dimensionally correct. Okay, so this is known as homogeneity principle. So mathematically you can write left hand side equal to right hand side. So whenever the left hand side of the equation is equal to the right hand side of the equation, so that particular equation is dimensionally correct or dimensionally balanced. So this is called homogeneity principle. What are the applications of dimensions? To check the accuracy of physical equations, to change a physical quantity from one system of units to other system of units, to obtain a relation between different physical quantities. Okay, let's see what are the limitations of dimensional analysis. So first limitation is, by this method the value of dimensionless constant cannot be calculated. Dimensionless constant, say for example relative density. Okay, so by this method the value of dimensionless constant cannot be calculated. And second limitation, by this method the equation containing trigonometry, exponential, logarithmic terms cannot be analyzed. And third limitation is, if a physical quantity in mechanics depends on more than 3 factors, then relation among them cannot be established because we have only 3 equations by equalizing the powers m, l, t. And then fourth limitation, it does not tell whether the quantity is vector or scalar. So these are the 4 limitations of dimensional analysis. Okay students, in this video I discussed about measurement of length, measurement of mass and measurement of time. And along with this we saw what is dimensional formula, how to write a dimensional formula for a physical quantity. Okay, so study carefully. Hope you understood all those concepts what we discussed today. I'll cover rest of the topics in my next video. Thank you.